You know, in the world of business, there are some giants that just seem untouchable. They've dominated their industries for decades, but every so often, a challenger comes along and does the impossible. Well, today, we're breaking down one of the biggest corporate upsets in a long, long time. A new king has just been crowned in India's massive packaged foods market. And the whole story? It kind of boils down to one single number.
Right, here it is. This is the number that changed everything. 17,195 crore rupees. For the 2024 fiscal year, that was the sales figure for ITC's food business. I mean, it's just a staggering amount, and it signals a huge shift in power.
And this? This was the number for the long-reigning champion, Britannia Industries. So, for the first time ever, ITC is pulled ahead. Yeah, it was a narrow victory for sure, but a decisive one. After years of chasing, ITC is finally in the lead.
So that brings us to the big question, right? How on earth did this sprawling conglomerate, a company famous for cigarettes and luxury hotels, manage to beat a 130-year-old company that lives and breathes food products? Honestly, it's a masterclass in strategy, so let's unpack it.
Okay, to really get this whole battle, you first have to understand the fighters. Because on the surface, yeah, they're both titans of Indian industry. But their core philosophies, their actual corporate DNA, well, they couldn't be more different.
So on one side, you've got the specialist, Britannia, a company that is laser-focused on just one thing, food. On the other side, you've got the diversified conglomerate, ITC. It's an empire with its fingers in what seems like a million different pies. This is that classic showdown, the specialist versus the generalist.
And let's be clear, Britannia is an absolute fortress. I mean, it was founded way back in 1892, so its legacy is just tough to compete with. Brands like Good Day and Marie Gold, they're in every household. They control almost a third of the entire biscuit market, and their stuff is in over 5 million stores across India. Talk about an entrenched market leader.
And then you have ITC. At first glance, their portfolio seems, well, kind of all over the place. Cigarettes, hotels, paper, agriculture, IT. You know, on the surface, these businesses don't seem to have much to do with each other. For years, people actually saw this diversification as a weakness, but it turns out it was their greatest strength.
So here's the crucial point. ITC's victory wasn't just about selling more biscuits. It was about using this hidden ecosystem of advantages that no pure-play food company could ever hope to match. Let's dig into these secret weapons.
All right, the first weapon is something most of us never even see. It doesn't start in a factory. It starts out in a field. See, ITC's massive agribusiness division is the actual backbone of its entire food operation.
Now, at the heart of this is something called the E-Chupal Initiative. And this isn't just some feel-good corporate social responsibility project, it's a strategic masterpiece. By working directly with over 4 million farmers, ITC gets first dibs on the best quality wheat. This direct sourcing gives its Ashirvad brand, which is a huge revenue driver, a massive advantage in both quality and cost. It's true vertical integration, you know, from the farm straight to the fork.
Okay, so you've got the best ingredients. Great. Now, how do you get your products into the hands of millions and millions of customers? Well, this is where ITC's second secret weapon comes into play. Its absolutely unparalleled distribution network. Hey, don't just take my word for it. Here's a quote from a top executive at Parle, another huge competitor. He says, "Distribution and visibility are absolutely critical because buying biscuits is often an impulse buy. If your product isn't on that shelf when someone gets a craving, you basically don't exist."
And this is how ITC totally cracked the distribution puzzle. When it launched its Sunfeast biscuit brand, it didn't have to build a network from scratch. No way. It just plugged right into the massive, pre-existing channels it had already built for its tobacco products over decades. This let Sunfeast reach 1.8 million outlets almost overnight. It achieved a scale in just a few years that takes other companies decades to build.
But there's a third, and maybe the most modern secret weapon in ITC's arsenal. And it's a strategy that goes beyond just sourcing and selling. It's about building a business that's truly ready for the future.
For ITC, this isn't just a buzzword they throw around. The triple bottom line is a core part of how they run the company. The idea is that by focusing on social and environmental goals, the people and the planet, you can actually drive even greater financial success, the profit. And they've got the numbers to back it up.
Check this out. ITC already gets 50%, half of its total energy from renewable sources. That was a target they had set for the year 2030, and they blew past it 7 years ahead of schedule.
Now, that's not just good for the environment. It makes their whole operation more resilient and cost-effective.
And this just brilliantly shows that synergy at play. So on the right, you see ITC's huge afforestation program, which has created over 1 million acres of green cover. And on the left, you see the result, sustainable, paper-based packaging for its Sunfeast products. Their paper division isn't just for outside clients. It fuels innovation for their own brands. It's all connected.
And they're tackling the plastic problem head-on. For 3 years in a row, ITC has been plastic neutral. That means it collects and recycles more plastic waste than it actually puts into the environment. In a world where we're all more conscious of our environmental impact, this kind of action builds some serious brand trust and loyalty.
So, when you put all these pieces together, a really clear picture of ITC's victory starts to emerge. It wasn't just one single thing, but a really powerful, interconnected formula.
So let's just quickly break that formula down. First up, they built a vertically integrated machine, controlling quality from the farm all the way to the final product. Second, they created these incredible synergies between their different businesses, using their distribution and packaging divisions to give their food brands an almost unfair advantage. And third, they built their strategy around a purpose, sustainability, which builds trust and creates a brand for the 21st century.
At the end of the day, this victory isn't just about ITC and Britannia. It raises a much bigger question for the whole business world. For decades, the thinking was you had to be lean, you had to be focused. But ITC's success suggests a new model could be taking over, the diversified, integrated, and sustainable conglomerate. So is this the blueprint for the next generation of corporate giants? It's definitely something to think about.